Hello, friends. Welcome back to the channel. This is your brother Lawrence. Pastor Edwin Kohler, the president of the General Conference, was recently interviewed at the Newbold College during their 125 years anniversary. I want to leave the video to play. Please listen carefully to the interview that happened during the 125 years of Newbold College. May God bless you for watching.
We have to ask, how did that happen, that you became an alumni?
Yeah, I was elected division president in 2006. I was 38. That was something very unusual for that time. And Pastor Paulsen was the one chairing the nominating committee. And after my election, he saw that I was not able to speak in English, but how someone can be the leader of the church for South America, and when that person goes to the general conference, is not able to say anything or to understand anything. And he told me, you need to study English. But the best English is England. You need to go to England, to Newbold. He was a principal here. He had a good connection, and he prepared the way. And I came with my family to spend 2 months here. That was the longest English program that I had. And that was a blessing for my life and for my ministry as well.
And as an Englishman, I couldn't agree more. So thank you. How was your journey as a pastor? You started out with an ambition to be a pastor. You got excited about the mission of the church. What has kept you going all these years?
Well, first of all, let me tell you that I have the privilege of being part of a family that we have 3 generations of pastors. My father is a retired pastor. I am a pastor, and my son is a pastor. He was just ordained the end of last year. It means God has blessed us to keep the ministry among generations. My call for ministry is different from many, because I don't remember a moment when I heard a sermon or I had a vision or something happened. My call came from my childhood. I remember my father was a local pastor. He was the evangelist of the conference where he worked. And during the time that he was the evangelist, the orientation of the conference was, instead of staying in the office, the evangelist will live in the place where he will conduct evangelist campaigns. And because of that, my father moved to a city, and I was born there in the midst of an evangelist campaign. I believe that this is the reason why I'm so passionate by mission and all this stuff, because I was born there. And from the beginning, I saw my father. He was the department director. Later, he was a secretary, the president of the conference. I saw all that. And that was my call from the beginning. I don't remember another dream that I had to have a different profession or something. That was a commitment from the beginning. For my son, for example, it was different. He was planning to study communication. He loves to prepare videos and all this stuff. But in one trip, for a mission trip, he felt called and he changed everything. Pastors, they have different calls, but in my case, it came from childhood.
So you caught it, is that the right way? Right? You didn't hear a voice, but you caught it through watching and being involved.
Yes. My father did everything that he could to involve me in the ministry. I remember I was a very young child, and when I came back from the school, because in Brazil the school is only in the morning or afternoon, I came to the lunch, and after the lunch, I went to the office of the local conference, and I spent all my afternoons there, helping the administrative assistants, the colporteurs and everything. He opens the door for me to be part of the church. Many of his trips, I traveled with him, and I was there at the door, greeting people, preparing the projector for him with slides at that time, and all these things. I believe that I felt my call, but he was the one that opened the doors, and he did everything to involve me. And this is something that I truly believe that's vital for our pastors. Some of us, we split my professional life and my family, and we believe that they need to be a part of that. When pastors involve their families, they do everything that they can feel that they are part of their ministry, it can produce good results. It was very positive to me and for my son as well.
And then you went to college to study theology and to train, is that right?
Yes.
How did you find that experience?
It was in Brazil. I studied theology now it's called the Brazil Adventist University. It was vital for me. There, I had the most important experience of my life. Because maybe you not believe on that, but I was always a very shy guy. I was not able to talk with other people. I needed someone around me to hide me and all this stuff. And during my theological preparation, I had theological preparation, of course, but that was the moment when the church prepared me for ministry.
Yes.
To deal with people, to be a counselor, to lead the church, and also to defend, to promote, to strengthen our theology. The theological preparation was vital for me. There I met my wife, and all these things happened at the same time.
So there was a serious emphasis on theological education,
Yeah.
but also pastoral training combined.
Yeah, I truly believe that our seminaries, they need to prepare pastors with theological preparation, not theologians for pastoral ministry. The ministry is the first one. You need to be committed to the call that you have in your heart. And if you have it, you need theological preparation, because you cannot be a pastor if you don't have a foundation. And I believe that during my time, my preparation was that, to be a pastor with good theological preparation, not the opposite.
And when you got into ministry, can you think of instances where your grounding at the college was really useful when you faced certain issues in the churches?
Yeah, I believe that what I learned there was what I applied later in my ministry. I believe that the theological preparation I received was very solid. It was a balanced, conservative preparation. It was not a radical one, but something that was very biblical. And when I left the seminary and I went to a district to be a local pastor, I shared the same, always with the Bible in my hand, trying to help the members to go to the Bible, to understand the Bible, because I was not a theologian preaching my ideas or what I think, or a revolutionary man. No, my idea was, I learned from the Bible, I need to share the message of the Bible to the members of the church. That was what I received, and that was what I shared.
Sometimes church leaders, when they're struggling to put pastors in certain places, will bring in people who aren't theologically trained. Now, I get that. My dad came into ministry, wasn't theologically trained, later in life. And I affirm the church for doing that. But there is a weakness there as well, that when you're not theologically trained, you can't give as much food as if you did have the experience of college.
I understand that when we talk about the global church, we have some areas of the world where we don't have people, and you need to call lay pastors, as we call in the United States, and later they can be prepared. But the best for the church is if we can send our young people to the seminary, they can study, they can have all the ministerial and theological preparation, and later they can come back. If we have some lay pastors, as I can call them, in the ministry, they are welcome. We need them. But I would like to motivate them. You can take care of your church, you can be a lay pastor, the church called you, but you need theological preparation. You have a master's degree that you can study in order to be more solid in terms of theology. I'm not saying that lay pastors, they are not solid, but once is your personal preparation, reading the Bible every day or Bible commentaries, and another one is to go to a classroom, to receive from others who studied a lot, are solid in terms of theology. I really motivate every pastor to have a theological preparation before ministry, or maybe during the time of ministry, but it's vital for ministry, because together with the theological preparation, you have church leadership, and both are important for us. Yes. If you have good theological preparation, but not the best skills for leadership, it will be a problem, or the opposite could be the problem as well. The theological preparation can give both.
Is it true that when I've had my theological education, when I come into ministry, and when we came into ministry, we thought we'd got it all sorted. We'd got all the questions answered, and we're just ready to go, right? And as you go through life, your ministry, some of those black and white issues become grayer. Is that fair to say?
Well, what I learned in my time at the seminary was that I learned everything. I received all the response. I have all my book notes with me. I go to ministry and I have response for everything. And later, my conclusion was the seminary didn't give me all the responses. The seminary helped me to understand how to research, to study, and to find the right theological responses for me, for my ministry, and for the church that I was pastoring. The seminary cannot give you all the response, but can help you to research and to prepare, to do the best in order to share what you need to share with the members.
I understand that you are still involved in continuing education, right?
Yes, of course. I believe on that. I studied theology later during the time that I was division youth director. You know that. We have a lot of trips and events and programs. I studied my master's degree. And later, During my time as division president, I started to study my DMin at Andrews in a cohort in Brazil. And I was transferred to the United States, to the General Conference. I finished my classes living in the United States. And later, the most challenging part was to write the dissertation. And I did it. And a few weeks ago, I defended my dissertation. You can imagine it's not easy for someone in my position to find time to read, to research, to write. But I found that time because I believe that if you would like to be a pastor that is relevant, you need to be preparing yourself permanently. Not only through a DMin or a master's degree, you can do that in your personal reading and the materials that you are selecting. But I believe that when you have a guided academic preparation, you can grow much more. And I try to do both. I have my personal reading every day, and at the same time invested in academic preparation. That's the reason why I had the DMin.
I don't want to miss that. I think I heard you say that you do continuing study in order to stay relevant.
Of course, of course.
And of course, we live in Europe, in a changing Europe, constantly. Yeah. Even what we thought was stable 3, 4, 5 years ago is no longer.
Yeah.
And so the pastor's got to stay fine-tuned to that, yeah?
You know, David, our message is not changing. We have an everlasting gospel according to Revelation chapter 14, the 3 angels' message. The message is the same, but the way we share the message in order to reach people's hearts, it needs to be adjusted from time to time because people are changing. We can't imagine that we can use the same methods that we use in the 60s or 70s for the people now. I like to remind our members that our church was born in the 19th century, but now our call is to reach the 21st century. It means we are not stopped in the 19th century. We were born there, we preached there, but the way that we used to preach there was adjusted, not the message, to reach people with relevance now.
I think I'm hearing from you that we have permission to contextualize.
Of course. Again, let me clarify because everybody can interpret that in a different way. Yeah. Our vision as a church is the message cannot be touched because it's an eternal gospel, an everlasting gospel. But the ways that we'll share that, we can adjust the ways. If it's aligned with our message and our identity, we can try different ways. We are right now as a church talking about One Voice 27. What is One Voice 27? It's a call for the church to use all the medias for mission. What's media? It's a new technology that we have. It's something that was born maybe strongly 20, 15 years ago. What the church is doing, using something new to share the message that is eternal, is everlasting gospel. We can do that. And you remember, we were pioneers in the use of television, in the use of radio, and all this stuff. We are not talking about modernized things now. In the past, we did that, and we are very successful. We reached a lot of people through TV, through radio, and all the ways. Now we think, just talking about one of the means, we can find different ways to share the message with the people living in the 21st century in Europe or maybe in Asia. It needs to be different for Asia. It needs to be different for Latin America. For every place, we can find the best ways to reach people's hearts.
So the message to pastors in the TD about One Voice 27 is get involved.
Please.
And you have permission to be imaginative and creative about how you get involved.
Don't miss this opportunity. You know, what is One Voice 27? Some people say, the General Conference is promoting. We are not promoting. At the General Conference, we shared a dream, a vision. 2027, month of September, celebrating the 2000th anniversary of Jesus' baptism. We are calling everyone to use all the medias to announce Jesus. In the books of Daniel, because he came. In the book of Revelation, because he will come. This is the project. It's something simple. What's our idea? We are giving motivation for local pastors, conference, to get the idea and adapt it, contextualize it, to use the word that you use, contextualize it and do the best to reach your people in your area using the methods that you have. We are just sharing a dream. Media for mission with a purpose. But contextualization is vital for that.
As we come to the end of this interview, I just want to focus on the pastor in the local church. A pastor anywhere in the TD, from Iceland to Cyprus, in many different contexts, but mostly in the small church setting. Very few of us have the luxury of worshiping in a large church or leading a large church. How do we help and encourage them grow their members deep?
Let me tell you something, David. I believe that ministry is not related to position. I am in a position, you're in a different one. Some of those who are watching us now, they are taking care of local churches, big churches, small churches. Ministry is a call and a conviction. I repeated many times for people who asked me, what about your ministry as president or secretary? I mentioned, forget my position. I have two words in my life that are guiding me. Those words. Number one is ministry. Number two is mission. Number one, despite of the position that I have, I need to be a pastor where I am. One of these days I will be in a local church. Tomorrow I can be the general conference president. I need to be a pastor in all those positions because that's my call. Mission is the second one because I understand that that's the task that the Lord entrusted to me, to promote, to believe, because that's the call for the Seventh-day Adventist Church. I have this conviction, I have this call. If I am in a church with 50 members, 25 members, or 1,000 members, or if I am in the general conference, this is my conviction. And I'd like to remind the local pastors, move forward based on your call and your conviction. Because you say, no, but they didn't send me to that big church. I'm here in a very small one, no leadership, no special programs. But if you're feeling called to ministry, do your best there. Because the Lord is calling you. Feed the people, teach them, visit them, pray for them, take care of them, because that's the ministry that the Lord entrusted to you. No, but the leaders didn't send me to the right place. Don't trust on leaders. The Lord's behind of them. And if they did wrong, the Lord will fix that. But if you trust in the Lord, do the best where you are. Number one, prepare yourself for that. Because if you'd like to serve in different places, prepare yourself for that. If you'd like to help to save your members and involve them, prepare yourself for that. Number two, trust in the Lord. Trust in the Lord. Let me tell you something. I don't know if I have time for that, but one of these days I read like the substract of a dissertation that I heard that the guy didn't finish that dissertation. But the beginning of that impressed me a lot. And he studied the deconversion of the Seventh-day Adventist pastors. And I was very impressed, deconversion, but it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. Maybe you have some pastors that left ministry, left the church, but he's talking about the pastors. And you know, he evaluated the 4 kinds of relationships with God that we have. Number one is theism. We believe that God is over everything. The number 2 is deism. God created us and forgot us. Number 3 is agnosticism, and we know what it means. And the last one is atheism. And what he said that impacted me was the major part of the pastors, they start as theist pastors. God is sovereign, He's taking care of my life and all this stuff. But with the pass of the time, we move from theism to deism. What is deism? I believe that the Lord exists, but He's not taking care of anything. I try to get the ministry in my hands. I will be a political guy in a constituency because I'd like to have a position. I will not take care of this church because it's not too big for me. I start to think that I am the owner of everything. The Lord is not taking care of anything. He forgot me. This is exactly the deist position. And that guy was studying how pastors can move from the first phase, theism, trusting on God, to the second phase, that's deism, acting as God does not exist. And I believe that you need to keep ministry strong, depend on the Lord. He called you. If pastors are preparing themselves, depending on the Lord, and number 3, keeping a clear focus. And our focus is the mission. We need to find all the ways. In Europe, it's very challenging. It's not easy. But if you can reach one heart, keep the eyes in your mission. I believe these 3 elements can make a pastor happy, glad in the ministry, and feeling that his call is being fulfilled by him according to the call that the Lord entrusted to him. But for me, these 3 elements are vital for each pastor who can be watching us now.
You've been here at Newbold. We're looking to the future. What would you like to see?
Well, when I came to study at Newbold, what impressed me was the commitment of people here. They embraced me, they took care of me. I like to repeat that I didn't have English classes here. I had an experience in Europe, especially at Newbold. Because of that commitment, everybody did something to help me. And I believe that is one of the main or major characteristics of this institution, the commitment of those who are serving here, the professors, the faculty, the workers, the leadership, commitment to the Lord, commitment to the church, commitment to the mission, and commitment to do the best education possible, the Adventist education with a clear focus. And when I think in the Newbold, in the future of this institution, I hope Newbold can help us to prepare pastors that can be relevant for the 21st century in the European culture, or maybe prepare for any other part of the world, but always grounded in the Bible, not in personal opinions or personal ideas, grounded in the Bible and focus on the mission. Historically, Newbold has been doing that. And Newbold is a blessing for the Seventh-day Adventist Church. And what I envision for the future, that blessing can be stronger and better. We need Newbold, we need pastors for Europe, we need pastors for the world, but always grounded in the Bible, focus on the mission.